The Southwest United States is littered with ghost towns. And contained within the once bustling town centers were stories of heroism, adventure, and romance, of those once brave enough to venture west and face the unknown. But as time marched forward, many of those once daring tales were forgotten, lost to the sands of time. But one such urban legend, based on an alleged true story, was so horrific and gruesome that even today, over 200 years later, it is still being told. And in fact, it was so horrifying that the valley it took place in was completely renamed after the event took place. This is the story of Slaughterhouse Canyon. Tonight, we have made our way out here to Kingman, Arizona, and drove all the way into Slaughterhouse Canyon to retell this story at the very place it happened. Now, all we know about the family today is that the wife's name was Luna, and this canyon that we are in today was once known as Luna's Canyon, named after the matriarch of the family. Now, the story goes that her husband was a prospector, and the family had come out here to northern Arizona to search for gold. But being the geography of Arizona, there is not that much gold to be found. So oftentimes these prospectors would search for silver and copper instead. Now, the prospector's family was very poor, and they often lived in impoverished conditions out here in this valley. To subsidize themselves, when he was not prospecting, Luna's husband would pack up his horses and leave the family for days to weeks at a time in order to hunt for meat to feed his family. And this is how they got by. Luna and her 2 children would live in this house while the prospector was either prospecting for gold or hunting for food for the family. And this was all until one day, the prospector never came back. And Luna waited patiently for days and weeks and eventually months, but her husband never returned. Now, during this time, their food stores that the family had slowly ran out, and the situation got desperate as the 3 remaining family members began to suffer from starvation. And as the weeks went by, and as Luna watched her children suffer from the effects of starvation, she began to suffer from her own kind of madness. And one night, when the screams and cries of her starving children became too much to bear, she decided to do the unthinkable and kill both of her children to keep them from suffering. After Luna had kind of snapped out of it and came to an understanding of what she had just done, she began to cry and wail so loudly that her cries could be heard all along this canyon. And she carried her children out into the desert and laid with them, and cried and screamed and wailed until she herself passed away from starvation. Now, that is only half of this urban legend. And the rest of it goes that even today, if you come out here to where their household once was, you are out here at night, you can still hear the cries of Luna echoing through Slaughterhouse Canyon. And although at the time of filming and investigating this case, we never experienced anything strange or paranormal, the story of Slaughterhouse Canyon stuck with me. The story is a humbling reminder of the horrifying conditions once faced by those who originally settled the Southwest United States, and a terrifying glimpse into what a mother is willing to do to save her own children from suffering. If you enjoyed today's video and are interested in more investigations filmed on location, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton, and I'll see you on the next video.